Stephen, who is here with the four-person team, and he's got an amazing story. We've just been talking off camera for a little bit, and I've been wanting to save it all for on camera because he's got a lot of fun things that they've been working on, and funny stories about not turning left when you mean to turn right. So anyway, let me have you introduce yourself and tell everyone where you're from.
Thank you very much, Michelle. I'm Stephen Bervelin from Sydney, Australia. I'm one of the 4 racers in the 4-man team called Team for HIV Hope. We were able to race last year and we came 8th, and we were very, very happy with that. Last year, 3 out of our 4 racers were racers living with HIV, and we wanted to prove that having HIV is not an impediment to very, very tough endurance sports. And coming 8th, I think that we did that. This year what we're doing is we're actually having 2 HIV negative racers and 2 HIV positive racers, and we're taking daily blood samples of each of us to look at the physiological impacts on anybody doing a very tough endurance race, and secondly to see if there's any difference between people who have and those who have not HIV. Deep in our hearts we believe very strongly that there won't be a difference, but we'd like to prove that scientifically as well.
Yeah, this sounds very scientific. How big is your crew that's supporting you this year?
We've got a crew of 13, and fortunately I've been gloriously ignorant about all that. Living in Sydney, Australia, we have a fantastic crew chief, Sandra Smith from Santa Fe in New Mexico, and she and our other team racer, Jim Williams from New York, have really been concentrating on the crew. But our crew is coming from Canada, from Australia, and from the United States. So it's very diverse and it's highly organized. But I'm very lucky that I can't tell you more details about that.
Ooh, it's top secret.
Well, look, I trust, and I'm really grateful that I can trust our whole team, and I know that it'll work.
Good. And how long have you been here in Oceanside? I mean, obviously coming from almost the other side of the world, you need some adjustment to the time change and everything else. How long have you been here?
I came to Los Angeles on Friday morning and just spent 3 days there just to get over the jet lag and to make sure that if I got a cold in the aeroplane, that would have gone by the time that we start on Saturday. Fortunately, I didn't get a cold, so
Good.
I'm doing pretty well, whereas last year I had a shocking cold and it finished on the Friday, so I was really happy about that. And then we arrived here in Oceanside today.
And tell me about how you got into cycling, like from the beginning. Like when did you first step onto or sit on a bike and fall in love with the sport?
When I was younger than I can ever remember, I started riding my bike, but significantly I had to stop riding my bike when I contracted HIV in 1996 because I lost my eyesight for 12 months. And we know you can't ride with a white cane, it just doesn't work. Fortunately it came back, but I was very, very scared for a long time because I was worried that if I had a crash that the ambulance people would not treat me as well and as equally as anybody else. I have since crashed quite a lot, and I know that my fears are totally unfounded. So that's been very fortunate to be. So whilst I rode from being very young, I then rode competitively from when I was at university, and then I did that until 1996, and then I restarted in 2007 with a vengeance, and it's just been so fantastic. And to look at doing these very major endurance races is just amazing.
And now you said you're head of your bike club in Australia?
I'm very fortunate at being the president of Sydney Cycling Club, and there are 2 things that are really important there. They fully support me being HIV positive, which is really nice. And secondly, they also fully support me doing the race across America. Sometimes I suspect that a few of them think that I'm quite crazy, but I believe that that's a major qualification for being here anyway.
I agree. To go 3,000 miles across the United States, you have to have a little bit of a crazy streak there.
You have to have a crazy streak, and you have to have desire and commitment. And we race to raise awareness of HIV, to destigmatize and reduce discrimination, to confirm that we can come to the United States and do this race, and to say that HIV is still very much a major problem for the entire world. A woman contracts HIV every minute of every day at the moment. People die of HIV every 17 seconds, and that's because they don't have the access to the medication which we're so fortunate to have, and we're trying very much to get equitable access so that those people can live just like we can.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans in Australia that might be watching this online and keeping tabs on you guys going across the United States?
I'm extremely honoured to be here. I'm extremely honoured that you guys support me and support our team to get us across the United States so that we can help and we can enjoy and we can show equality and have a lot of fun on the East Coast, not necessarily along the way. Although we do have fun. I mean, we have some competitions during the race, and I was just saying to Rochelle beforehand that one of the competitions that we have is a crying competition. I win the crying competition. My team then bets on how soon I will cry. And why do I cry? I cry because I'm alive and I can do this and I can help people, and that's what it's all about.
And it's very moving. It's very moving.
Thank you.
What are you, besides the finish line, what are you most looking forward to seeing in this race again? I know you've done it once before, but what's your favorite part about the United States, or what are you looking forward to seeing?
The real difficulty with doing the race is you see an awful lot of black asphalt and a white line. But I recalled the deserts out in Arizona, which I thought were just magical. I enjoyed going through Kansas, and a description of Kansas could be brown flat corn, brown flat corn, brown flat corn. But even that in itself is actually a very interesting statement, because to have an area so long and so flat is just phenomenal.
And windy, I remember.
It was very windy. The Appalachians were challenging, mainly because there were so many rollers that just kept coming along, and we were a little tired by then.
I'm sure.
And I just enjoyed the whole lot. Yeah, I really did, and I'm looking forward to that very much.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the finish line in Annapolis. Is there anything else you'd like to say to your fans as we wrap up today?
Rochelle, one of the major things that I find with RAAM is that we, all the competitors, whilst it's such a very, very fierce competition and a very strong field, we're all part of the one family. And that is just so exciting. And I thank you very much.
I thank you. I thank you. Group hug. This isn't a handshake. This is a group hug.
Thank you, Michelle. And I didn't cry.
Almost. You're getting a head start there on your teammates in the competition.
So I'm going to actually say that same thing on Thursday, because the room. You can imagine last year, I silenced that room.
I'm sure.
15 seconds.
I'm sure you did.
And
Yeah.
they're all
No, I know. I'm sure you did.
because they don't understand, and that's why we race. They don't understand that we can actually do this race.
Yeah.
And that's because of the medication, but it's not fair. So many people still die.
Yeah.
1 every 17 seconds is the equivalent of a Boeing 767 in an hour.
Wow. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
and when you look at it that way, like we as a nation wouldn't tolerate.
No.
Okay, now that's worldwide, but I'll give you the next one. Right? 2 churches and a shop in that order. He's in his mid-40s. He waited for hours for our team to come along because he couldn't say to anybody that he had HIV.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
And you go,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because he was so, in such a small town, they just didn't understand. Or
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you go, it's just not fair.
Yeah.
And I always say, if I can help one kid,
Yeah.
Now I know that we can help a lot more than one kid,
Yeah.
but
Just one person.
you know,
Yeah.
and if I can get one dad to say, I will keep loving my kid.
Yeah. It'll happen. It'll
Yeah,
happen.
because ultimately, I mean, it's just a virus, but it's
Yeah.
the stigma is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Well, good for you and
Thank
your
you.
team for bringing some positive awareness, and we'll be at the finish line, so I'll look for you there.
I'm looking forward to that. We shall be there. Well, the aim is 5 days, 12 hours. Yeah, sure.